Assalamu alaikum, friends. This is your friend Samil Ramzan. Or recently, what is happening in Afghanistan recently that American forces are supposed to leave the the shores of Afghanistan completely by 11th September 2021. What will transpire in Afghanistan will definitely will affect the neighboring states that are the will affect the region. I think the government in Afghanistan, it's the last days of the government, Afghan government, the which is run by Afghan President Mr. Uh, Afghan Ashraf Ghani. His recently he published I directly go on the topic. Yeah, an article recently published in international media. It was published by Afghanistan President Mr. Ashraf Ghani. Article's heading was Afghan's moment of risk and opportunity, a path to peace for the country and the region. Let's discuss this article. So I straight go on the article. President Joe Biden's decision to withdraw the remaining 2,500 US troops from Afghanistan by September represents a turning point for the country and our neighbors. The Afghan government respects the decision and views it as a moment of both opportunity and risk for itself. I don't think there is any opportunity for Afghan government uh, when America is leaving the land of Afghanistan. There is no opportunity for it's only risk for the government which is against people, which is against the people of will, which is against the will of people of Afghanistan, which was for Afghans. The Afghan government respects the decision and views it as a moment of both opportunity and risk for itself. No opportunity, it's just risk for Afghan government, for the Taliban and for the region. For me, for me, wait a minute. For me, as the elected leader of Republic of Pakistan, Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, it is another opportunity to retreat and further my commitment to peace. In February 2018, I made an unconditional offer of peace to the Taliban. That was followed by a 3-day ceasefire in June of that year. In 2019, a Loya Jigra Ground Council that I convinced mandated negotiations with Taliban. And since then, my government has worked to build a national consensus on the need for a political settlement that would comfort with the values of Afghan constitution and the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. My government remains ready to continue talks with Taliban, and if it meant peace would be secured, I am willing to end my term early. You are not, you will not end your, but your term will end, will be ending soon. For the Afghan nation, the announcement of US withdrawal is another phase in our long-term partnership with United States. Afghanistan has been through consequential withdrawal before. In 2014, the year I first took office, 1,30,000 US and NATO forces withdrew. allowing Afghans full leadership of the security sector and of the institutions that our international partners had helped us build. Since then, the Afghan National Defense and Security Force have protected and upheld the republic and made it possible for the country to carry out two national elections. Today, our government and our security forces are on a much stronger footing than we were 7 years ago. Let's see, today our government and our security forces are on a much stronger footing than we were 7 years ago. I think no. You are all what you have achieved. You have achieved nothing. You have achieved zero, and you are getting exposed. Taliban is coming back into force in in Afghanistan, and you can do nothing about it. You are just puppets of America. As long as Americans stood there, American army stood there, and NATO forces stood there, you are in power. You will be thrown in just months, I reckon. And you have to run for your life. You are all administration. You are all ministers. You are all government. You are all government forces. Because Taliban won't leave you. It certainly seems that Taliban won't leave you. It's the end of period of tyranny in Afghanistan. You are puppets of America, nothing more than that. Today, our government and our security force are on a much stronger footing than we were 7 years ago, and we are fully prepared to continue serving and defending our people after American troops depart. I reckon you won't last even a month after September 11, the date which Biden said, U.S. President said that American forces will be, no American force will be, not a single person will be there in Afghanistan. So I continue. The withdrawal also represents an opportunity for the Afghan people to achieve real sovereignty. Over the past 20 years, 40 different countries have deployed security forces to Afghanistan. Soon, however, all decisions regarding military approach to the Taliban and other terrorist groups will be made by the Afghan government. Nothing is, you can make nothing, You are not popular government. You are not selected by government. You are just puppets of America. Indeed, the Taliban's justification for war, jihad against foreign power, will cease to apply. The US decision surprised the Taliban and their patrons in Pakistan. Who said you so? Who said you so? That US decision surprised the Taliban and their patrons in Pakistan? It was on cards that US was left with no option but to leave Afghanistan. They were fighting a losing battle there. It has had forced the US decision surprised the Taliban and their patrons in Pakistan, and it has forced them to make a choice. Will they become credible stakeholders, or will they foster more chaos and violence? If the Taliban choose the later path, the ANDSF will fight them. And if the Taliban still refuse to negotiate, they will be choosing the peace of grave. Mr. Ashraf Ghani, Mr. the puppet government, you have nothing in your hand. You are just frustrated now. See, you are just imagining your fate. You just cannot administer Afghanistan anymore. Just as American forces are leaving the land of Afghanistan. It just depicts your helplessness. Sorry to say, it's just your helplessness. No, it was all because Taliban was out of power. It was because of American forces were there. And now you are nothing. You are nothing. A government of Afghanistan, you are nothing. You have no popular support in Afghanistan. You are just puppets in the hands of Americans. And when Americans are leaving the pure lands of Afghanistan, your future is dark. To avoid the fate, the Taliban must answer critical questions about their vision for Afghanistan. You are nobody to question Taliban. You are nobody to question Taliban. You have to run for your life now. Will they accept elections, and will they commit to uphold the rights of all Afghans, including girls, women and minorities? Negative answers to those questions were suggested by Taliban's recent decision to pull out of a peace conference that was supposed to begin in Istanbul at the end of April. Remember, it's lost since 20 years. Taliban never wanted to talk with you, negotiate with you. Taliban always negotiated with American state, American administration, but never negotiate. You were just begging from last 20 whatever whenever you came forward through America via American support. Taliban was never ready to talk with you because they felt Taliban felt you no power in Afghanistan. It was America which was controlling Afghanistan since last 20 years, and you were puppets of America. So there is no point Taliban talking to you. Neither they talked in the last 20 years when there were back of American forces to you. Now, neither they will now when you are just helpless, totally, completely helpless. Okay, I continue. The Taliban, it seems, remains more interested in power than in peace. A political settlement, yes, why not? They have the power to capture, to defeat USSR. They have the power to defeat United States of America, the contemporary superpower. You are nothing in front. Imagine superpower Russia, superpower America. They defeated them, Taliban. And what is your position in front of Taliban? They will. I reckon. I will repeat again. They will oust you. Your government just within 1 month after America leaves the pure land of Afghanistan. A political settlement and the integration of the Taliban into society and government is the only way forward. Who the hell are you to talk about like this? They are the men who have the power. They are sacrificing for the cause of for Allah, for the sake of Allah. You are nobody to dictate them. They will dictate you now. It's you are just it's cries come from the Mr. Ashraf Ghani and the government officials of Afghanistan. You can do nothing because people love Taliban. People of Afghanistan love our Taliban. They want majority. Yes, there are minority, very few people who are supporting you. Okay, you are puppets of America. Without majority, without vast majority of population of Afghanistan supporting Taliban, they won't be successful doing what they want, defeating USSR, defeating USA in Afghanistan. It's all because people support them. It's not like that from aliens are helping Taliban. No, people of Afghanistan are supporting them. That's why they survived. They survived Russian invasion. They survived USA invasion, United States invasion, and you are nothing in front of them. No, nothing in front of them. Your days are just few. Afghans cannot. Okay, I continue with his article, Mr. Ashraf Ghani's article. The future that Afghans want. Okay, Afghans cannot and absolutely will not go back to the horrors of 1990s. We are not idly waiting for peace to chance upon us, but continue to take steps to create the environment and platform for it to take hold. The risks of the US withdrawal have been widely propagated in the news media, but we see little serious discourse about the opportunities it presents. Yes, it presents opportunities for Taliban, and it presents for you defeat. Your days are just few. You have to be, you have to hide. You have just one option, that is hide. Government of Afghanistan has just one option, to hide. You are puppets of America. People of Afghanistan don't trust you, don't like you, don't want you in power. All international stakeholders and the Afghan people want a sovereign, Islamic, democratic, united, neutral and connected Afghanistan. Yes, they want. Here you are right. The Afghan people affirmed their support for that end state at a peace jigra in August 2020. The international community affirmed its desire for that end state in March 2020 when UN Security Council adopted Resolution 2513, which made clear that the world does not want the return of Taliban's emirate. Look, United Nations cannot decide the future of Afghans. It's the people of Afghanistan which will decide the future of Afghanistan. An organization, United Nations, which is based in United States, cannot decide the future of people of Afghanistan, cannot decide the people of any country of the world. It's the people of Afghanistan which will decide the future of Afghanistan. And you might say that you again and again say that Mr. Ashraf Ghani, that is your good self, is selected by people of Afghanistan. No, you are selected by the government of United States, people of administration of United States. It is far less clear, however, that what the Taliban want. They demanded an Islamic system, but that already exists in Afghanistan. For any negotiations over a political settlement between the Afghan government and the Taliban to succeed, the Taliban must articulate their desired end state with clarity and detail. Negotiations will require a credible and neutral mediator. Negotiations would require a credible and neutral mediator. Then that need is highlighted by talks in Doha between Afghan government and Taliban. The talks lack such a mediator and have so far reached an impasse. The best placed organization for this role would be United Nations. The first, you are no one you are no one to decide the future of Afghanistan. It's the men who are in power. It's the men who defeated these are the words to repeat again and repeat again and again. Who defeated United States? Who defeated USSR? Former USSR. The first topics of negotiation must be reaching the desired end state and putting in place a comprehensive ceasefire to bring peace and respite to the daily lives of the Afghan people and to restore credibility and faith in the peacemaking process. Because ceasefires established during peace negotiations often fall apart. However, it is critical that we have international monitoring. Look, to restore peace in Afghanistan, it's mandatory that your government that was puppet of America should be removed from office. Fall apart. Look, America, by negotiating in Doha with Taliban, with spokespersons of Taliban in Doha, they agreed that the real representatives of people of Afghanistan are Taliban. The power to reckon is the Taliban that are loved by the people of Afghanistan. You are just puppets of America. You are the reason for whatever escalation, whatever violence is happening in Afghanistan. Because few people are supporting you, but the majority population in Afghanistan are supporting the people who defeated USSR, who defeated the United States of America. I repeat again and again, without the support of people, Taliban cannot be successful defeating two superpowers within 3 decades, within 4 decades. Next, the parties would have to discuss and decide on a transitional administration. You are no one to rule, to decide. Although the structure of the republic must remain intact, a peace administration would maintain order and continuity while elections were planned and held. This transitional authority would have a short tenure, and it would end as soon as presidential, parliamentary, and local elections determined the country's new leadership. I would not run for office in such an election, and I would readily resign the presidency before the official end of my current term if it meant that my elected successor would have a mandate for peace. I would readily resign the presidency before the official end of my current term if it meant that my elected successor would have a mandate for peace. You will not readily resign by your choice. You will be forced to resign. Mr. Ashraf Ghani, you will be forced to resign because you are puppets. You have nothing now in your hand. You were there to in government offices because of America, United States of America, and now they are leaving, and you too have to leave the government offices. You too have to say goodbye to government offices. The negotiations would confront difficult issues such as whether and how the Taliban would end their relationship with Pakistan, which provides them with the support for logistics, finances, and recruitment. The talk must also address the Taliban's ongoing connections to Al-Qaeda, which the UN detailed in 2020 report. Thus, it is crucial that the Afghan government and the Taliban also agree on an approach against the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, and other terrorist groups, and that our agreement include a framework for counter-terrorism that secures guarantee of support from other countries in the region and from international organizations. Nobody can. It's a sovereign country, Afghanistan. You say that security guarantees of support from other countries that secures in the region from international organizations. That it's a sovereign country. It's not anybody's commodity. Afghanistan. People of Afghanistan know what's good for them. United Nations can say these things and that things, but they cannot interfere in the internal matters of Afghanistan. Look, these are words what you are saying and what I am answering your article. These are words. The man in ground, that is Taliban, will show you now what you were doing in Afghanistan against the will of people of Afghanistan. They will show the real place. That's you have to hide now. Mr. Ashraf Ghani, you have to hide now. You have no place in Afghanistan. You just run for your life because you are not selected by government. So people of Afghanistan, you were just puppet of America, dancing on the tunes of America. Once the Afghan government and the Taliban have reached a settlement, the Afghan people would. Who said you they will go with any settlement? They will talk to you. They will not even start a talk with you. You are none. The Afghan people would need to publicly endorse it through our country's highest form of national consensus building, a Loya Jigra, a grand meeting of male and female community leaders from every province. The Taliban have been deprived of immersion in Afghan society for the past 20 years. A Loya Jigra would offer an ideal opportunity for their leadership to interact with all segments of the population. Who the hell is Loya Jigra? They are living in the hearts of Taliban is living in the hearts and minds of people of Afghanistan. People of Afghanistan love Taliban. After these are just your dramas. Some countries dictating you to do this, but your days are few. After a political settlement has been negotiated, inked and endorsed, the hard work of implementation would begin. This is the process of building peace. There is always temptation to make the temporary permanent, which is why the peace government must prioritize elections. You are dictating terms, but you are no one to dictate terms. You are not in a position to dictate terms. It's a time for you and your government officials and your security forces to run for your life, not to dictate terms. You are just fooling none but yourself. In the interim, it just shows your insecurities. In the interim, however, the transitional leadership would have to make a series of hard decisions about how to govern economic development, education and health services, and other key functions of the state would have to continue without disruption. Any stoppage would have disastrous ramifications for Afghan people and for the economy. And you are not saying any rocket science, it's the basic science. It's a basic knowledge. That should continue. There would also be new priorities such as releasing prisoners of war. You have no option but to release all prisoners. You don't need to release them because Taliban will capture all the jails of Afghanistan and leave and make their leaders and the people-loving leaders to get free from the jails of cruel Afghanistan government, which was a puppet, which was nothing but a puppet of United States of America. The military and society, and addressing the grievance of those who have lost loved ones, property and livelihoods during the past 2 decades of war. Who is responsible for that? It's the United States that was responsible for that, and you puppets who played in the hands of United States. A newly elected government will have an important mandate to sustain peace and implement the agreement that may require making amendments to the Constitution. The Constitution makes clear that except for Islamic character of the state and fundamental rights of citizens, all else is subject to amendment, and there are mechanisms in place to enact those changes. Now you are talking about Islamic things, huh? Where you are Islamic related knowledge from last 20 years, when Afghan people were slayed every minute and every second by NATO forces, by American forces, by your killer forces, government forces. You are now talking of Islamic knowledge, Islamic terms. The new government would also confront the reintegration of refugees, particularly those who fell to Iran and of Pakistan, the resettlement of internally displaced people, and the often overlooked issue of national reconciliation. Meanwhile, the transitional ceasefire would have to give way to a situation in which the state institutions command a legitimate monopoly on the use of force, and Afghanistan would need to commit to permanent neutrality in order to mitigate the risk of regional conflicts. The UN General Assembly or the UN Security Council would be the ideal venues for establishing and formalizing Afghanistan's neutral states. I again repeat, it's not the UN Security Council or UN General Assembly. It's the people of Afghanistan which will decide the future of Afghanistan. And they have decided their future by supporting wholeheartedly Taliban and America by leaving the shores of Afghanistan and talking with Taliban in Doha have agreed that the real representatives of people of Afghanistan and the real power in Afghanistan and the only power in Afghanistan is the Taliban. The path ahead. Even in an ideal environment, achieving a just and lasting peace would not be an easy journey and opportunity. The environment we are operating is not ideal. There are many risks that this process could be derailed or disrupted, and Afghans may lose yet another opportunity for peace. For one, the perception of uncertainty fueled by dire predictions in the media incline many Afghans to leave the country. This could lead to a repeat of the refugee crisis that unfolded in 2015 and would deprive the country of talented people right at the moment when they are most needed. Another risk is that disrupted or disorderly transition could threaten command control within the country's security sector. There must be an orderly political process to transfer authority to so that security forces are not left without leadership and direction. Moreover, it is critically important that United States and NATO fulfill their existing commitments to fund. There is also a risk that Afghan political figures will not galvanize around an orderly peace process. The main risk to peace, however, is Taliban miscalculation. The Taliban still believe their own narrative that they have defeated NATO and the United States. They feel emboldened, and because their political leaders have never encouraged their military branch to accept the idea of peace, the greatest risk is that Taliban will continue to show no earnest interest in making a political deal with and will instead opt for continued military aggression. Aggression is not from their side, aggression is from your side. And now you are in no position to dictate terms. You just have to run for your lives. Sorry to say. If that is what happens, the Afghan government and security force are ready. Okay, as we prepare for peace talks with the Taliban, we are also prepared to face them on the battlefield. Over the last two, what will you face in the battlefield? Already there is not still complete withdrawal of American force from from Afghanistan. The highways of Afghanistan are already captured by Taliban. Your government officials cannot go out of Kabul more than 4 kilometers from every direction. Taliban have already captured the highways, outposts. You are just, Taliban is just nearing you to dethrone you. You just run for your life. You have only one option. Save your life. If you have anything dearer to you, save. Because Taliban is coming to power in Afghanistan. Over the last 2 years, more than 90% of Afghan military operations have been conducted entirely by Afghan security forces. Falsehood. That's a lie. Should the Taliban choose violence, it would mean a major confrontation over the spring and summer months, at the end of which the Taliban would be left with no good options except to come back to the negotiation table. You are just joking yourself and none. Look, they defeated Americans. You are nothing in front of them. American forces are some of the mightiest power in the world, some of the well-prepared army of the world. They were clueless in Afghanistan. Your forces will be wiped out within days, not months, within days. They have only one option: to surrender. If they want their lives, they have to surrender. And they will surrender because they have no option left. And you might be living your rest of life in America. Only if that option will be available for you. I must tell you that Mr. Ashraf Ghani, the president of the American-made president of Afghanistan, time is running for you. Time is running for you. Pakistan might also must. Okay, I continue with the article of Mr. Ashraf Ghani. Pakistan might also miscalculate in a way that threatens peace. There have been positive signs as Pakistan will choose a path of regional connectivity, peace and prosperity, as indicated in remarks delivered in March at the Islamabad Security Dialogue by Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, the Pakistani Army Chief of Staff, General Qamar Bajwa. Those remarks could signify an important pivot from a destructive to a constructive approach to relations with Afghanistan. Now is the opportunity to put those words into action. If Pakistan chooses to support the Taliban, however, then Islamabad would be opting for enmity with Afghan nation. Then Islamabad would be Afghan nation and would be foregoing enormous economic benefits that peace and regional connectivity would offer. I again repeat, you are no one to dictate terms. You have nothing in hand. Please save your life and your dear ones, because Taliban is coming. Pakistan would become an international pariah as it would be left with no leverage in the aftermath of US troop withdrawals. The Pakistani government miscalculated in its response to the United States plans of action for Afghanistan and the region. But it is not too late for Islamabad to emerge as a partner and stakeholder in an early, orderly peace process. Who said the Pakistani government miscalculated in its response to the United States plan of action for Afghanistan and the region? Who said you so? Is any country dictating you to say this? That Pakistani government miscalculated in its response to the United States plan of action for Afghanistan and the region. You are gravely mistaken, Mr. Ashraf Ghani, and a person from Kashmir like me is challenging you. You have nothing in hand now. Just save your life. Time is running. As we move into uncharted waters for Afghanistan, I am focused on achieving the best possible outcome of this long period of conflict. Long period of conflict. You are in no position to focus, even focus. Mr. Ashraf Ghani, please save your life. Please save your dear ones, because you will be taken task, taken to task, taken into task for your cruel approach against people of Afghanistan from last many years on the dint of support of government of United States. I am willing to compromise and sacrifice to achieve that. You have nothing in hand. Neither you can you cannot dictate terms. The withdrawal of US troops is an opportunity to get closer to end state, but only if all Afghans and their international partners commit to a clear path forward and stay the course. I cannot even request you to vacate the government offices, to shun your government, because before that I am, as a human being, I suggest you to save your life, because days and weeks and days and hours and minutes and seconds are very costly for you. It shouldn't be that you are trying to dictate terms when you should be taking care of your life and your dear ones. Maybe it's lost time for you, lost few moments for you. Who knows? Afghanistan is changing and puppets are getting into grave. Thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum.